Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and a completely blank puzzle on screen today. We get sent a large number of puzzles with empty grids. It is the holy grail for a lot of people to create an empty grid puzzle that actually works. Now, we don't feature many of them because a heavily complicated rule set kind of undermines there being an empty grid. We have been sent puzzles in which box 2 is a magic square and box 5 doesn't have any prime numbers written in it, and you know, weird stuff that you could actually show with markings and highlighting more easily. So they have just been created as empty square puzzles. But this one has a very simple rule set. It is a 6x6 and it is an irregular Sudoku, so we don't have rectangles as the marked regions, but it is absolutely intriguing. The pedigree is great. This comes from GB Pack. GB Pack, I hope I've got this right, used to write to us from an email address that was Aaron Rodgers. And we did wonder for a moment or two whether Aaron Rodgers, setting as GB Pack, was the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. I think it turns out that GB Pack is just a fan and probably had to give up the Aaron Rodgers email address when Aaron Rodgers moved to the Jets, I believe, and then bust his knee in his first series. So he may not play again, which is terribly sad for Aaron Rodgers. Actually, probably even sadder for the Jets management, who built their whole recruitment strategy around him for a season and then lost him on virtually the first play of the season. Anyway, that's me exhibiting my knowledge. There was probably at least one egregious error in there of NFL. But what I do know about GB Pack is that he creates absolutely phenomenal puzzles, and this smacks of that. We will see how it solves. I have no idea how to go about this. I've read the rule set and it's just baffling. So I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. Do check out, however, before we try the puzzle, I must mention our incredible CTC Snake Egg collection of puzzles and Sudokus on Patreon, which is the May monthly reward by Glum Hippo, and it's a fabulous collection of puzzles. We're very proud to bring it to you. Check it out and join us on Patreon. There's always good stuff, and do try our apps as well. They are some fantastic puzzles, whether they be genuinely approachable or Arrow Sudoku, Thermo Sudoku, Chess Sudoku, Classic. There's so many possibilities. Very, very good value. I know self-praise is no praise, but we didn't make most of the puzzles. They were generally created by some of the world's best brains, like GB Pack, who I don't think features in them, but brilliant constructors. Anyway, also Sven SUDOKU PAD by another genius, obviously. And our merchandise, all available on the links under the video, as is this 6x6 puzzle, and I'm going to go through the rules now. So we have to place the digits 1 to 6 in every row, every column, and every marked region. That's why it's an irregular 6x6 Sudoku. Now, no orthogonally adjacent pair of cells read as a 2-digit number left to right or top to bottom can be a prime number or a perfect square. And that's it. That's the whole of the rules. No given digits, no markings in the grid beyond the regions. It is a bit mind-blowing. It probably deserves the word miracle in the title. It is called Irregular Miracle, and I literally cannot wait to find out how this is going to solve. I'm absolutely intrigued. And I'm going to start now. So let's get cracking. You can obviously try it on the link under the video before watching this, but what do we do? Well, okay, I'm going to point out, I don't see how it helps, but I'm going to point out some law of leftovers issues about this irregular shape. Well, let's start with that one. There are 5 digits there. Obviously, they're all different because they're in the same row and shape. The 6th digit that isn't one of those 5 appears there in the row and there in the shape. So they have to be the same 2 digits. And we can do the same with this shape. The 6th digit, apart from those 5, appears there in the shape, there in the row. So that is going to be the same in both cases. Now, I don't think that gets us very far. You could then say that yellow has to be in one of those 2 cells in row 3. I mean, I suppose purple has to be in one of those 2 in row 4. The trouble is, with these flat horizontal shapes, that kind of logic is not going to populate the whole grid in colours, ever. I don't know if it helps much at all, actually. Okay, I think I can't avoid having to think next about the possible prime numbers and perfect squares that we can eliminate as 2-digit pieces, dominoes, within the grid. So the prime numbers are going to end in an odd number. Okay, I'm just going to use some of the grid to list them. I think there are quite a few. So we could end in 1. We don't have to worry about 11. It is prime, but it could never sit in the Sudoku grid as a domino because of the ones being the same. 21 is not prime, but 31 is prime. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to launch the party in the corner. I'm just aide-memoiring here. 41 is prime. 51 is not. The digits add up to a multiple of 3, so it's divisible by 3. 61 is prime. Then numbers ending in 3 that are prime are 13, 23, 43, I'm pretty sure, and 53 is prime. 63 isn't. It's divisible by 3. I've launched another party in the corner, sorry. Then we've got... yeah, we don't have numbers ending in 5 because any number ending in 5 is divisible by 5. I should have mentioned that any number ending in an even digit is divisible by 2, so they can be ruled out. So that is the full list of primes that I've written down that matter, that we have to avoid. Squares that we have to avoid, so it's always 2-digit numbers, so they start with 16, 4 squared, then 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, but that includes a 9, which is irrelevant. 8 squared is 64. So these are the 11 dominoes that we have to avoid. So there's quite a lot of 3s in there. So 3 can never follow 1, 2, 4, or 5. It can never precede 1 or 6. Ah. Oh, okay. It's just the fact that 3 cannot follow 1, 2, 4, or 5 that probably matters. Okay. So 3 always follows 6. Now, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this aide-memoire, and I'm not ruling out that we will come back to it. But I think in every row, 3 has to follow 6. If it didn't follow 6 in a row, it would either be the first digit, and I will come back to that, or it would be, it must, yeah, the 3 in column 2 must follow a 6, because it will form a domino somewhere, and we're not allowed 13, 23, 43, and 53. So the 3 in column 2 will follow a 6. The 3 in column 3 will follow a 6. And so on and so on. And once you've populated the grid with those 6s and 3s, I mean, we could just make up places where they could be. I'm trying, yeah, let's start with those dominoes for 6, 3. Then in the final case, and it might not be in row 6, you will have still to place a 6 in column 6 and a 3 in column 3. So you could treat the grid as a torus and say that 6 will always precede 3 in the torus. Like it works for the missing row. Ah, yes, okay. So it works for the missing, for the row in which 3 starts the row, 6 must be at the end. Because for all the other 5 instances, 6 is in the column immediately preceding 3. So we're going to have 63 in every row, including the one where it's 6 at the end and 3 at the beginning, treating it like a continuing torus, as I say. Now, I've just remembered that this applies to the columns as well as the rows. The rule says read as a 2-digit number left to right or top to bottom. So we're going to get a pattern. Let's imagine this domino, first of all, is our 6-3. And I'm not saying it is, this is just an aide-memoire. But for the columns, 3 always follows 6 as well, just as it does in the rows. So that would have to be a 3. Then this would have to be a 6 in the row. That would have to be a 3. Then we can jump across the grid and put 6 in there, 3 there. So this is one possible disposition of 6s and 3s. They are going to come out in a sort of a diagonal stripe or a pair of diagonal stripes in the grid somehow. And how do we use that? We use that, well, this one I've just sketched in is impossible because the 6s are in the same shape. So what I should do, there are 6, considering the whole grid as a torus that repeats at the ends of the rows and at the ends of the columns, I think there are 6 different diagonals in the grid. For instance, that is one of them. I mean, the one where we've got the 6s is one of these continuous diagonals. So is the one where we've got the 3s. The one I've just highlighted is a 3rd. A 4th is the one that appears as a 6th cell within the diagonal. Then there's a 5th one here and a 6th one using those 6 cells. Now, which of those 6 diagonals cannot contain the same digit repeated? Because some of them can't. This one I'm in can't. So let's colour that orange. That cannot contain either 6 or 3. I think the one where I've put the 3s at the moment, that can, because those 6 digits are in 6 different shapes. So let's go methodically through these. This one can't. Those 2 are in the same shape. So we can rule out that diagonal for 6s or 3s. This one looks all right. They're all in different shapes. Pity. Ah, this one has 2 cells in that hexomino. So we're ruling out that diagonal. This one's all right. But you see now, just for a time being, I'm going to get rid of yellow and white. I don't think they're helping. Sorry, yellow and purple. Now only the white cells can contain the 6s and 3s, and the 3s must follow the 6s. So I think we can replace, well, let's get rid of those 6s we marked in. We can replace, now I think the 6s have to be in that diagonal followed by the 3s in this one. Although the long diagonal is an acceptable place for a repeating digit, it's not next to the other one. So I'm going to make those 3s 6s. I'm going to put 3s in here. And I think this is correct. That is the only way we can fit in this recurring pattern of 6s and 3s. And 3s always have to be preceded by 6s. So there we go. We might as well remember, let's get rid of the orange and remember the only other diagonal that could contain 6 digits that don't recur is the long one. Now, okay, I'm going to restore the purple colouring. Was that one purple or was that yellow? I think that was purple. That is not the right place for the other purple cell. It's in one of those 2. Yeah, this is good. This is good. And yellow was there and there. Yellow is in fact 3. So we don't need the yellow. We know where all those digits go. But we do know that this is not 6. So this is not purple. So this is the purple digit. Is that going to let us finish off purple? It probably isn't. Purple's in one of those 2 cells in this shape. Yeah, no, it doesn't help us finish off. There's a lot of remaining cells for purple, but we got one other purple digit. No, we have to think about those primes, etc. again. Okay, so 1s wasn't as good as 3s, but what can precede a 1? We're not allowed to have 41 or 31. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the cells in the grid where 1 can't go. It can't go immediately following a 3. It can't go immediately preceding a 6 because 16 is a square. So these other white cells are where 1 can go. And it's not purple. We worked out, this is so valuable now that we've worked out that those 3 cells are purple because this one can't be a 1. Therefore, these 2 are not 1s. And once we remove 1s from those, we've only got 1 place for 1 in row 3 and in row 4. And that knocks out a 1 there. We've got 1 place in row 5. Then we've got 1 place in row 6. I keep on wondering, is 31 allowed? No, it's not. We've got 1 place in row 1 now. And in fact, it's 1s that appear on that diagonal. So none of the other digits, 2, 4, and 5, appear on a full recurring diagonal. So we're going to have to mix them up a bit. And one of them is purple. In fact, let's get rid of orange now. So we've just got purple in the grid. We've got to place 2, 4, and 5, but 41 is not allowed. That is prime. So these digits are all from 2 or 5. What else isn't allowed? 25 as a square is not allowed. Oh, and these 2. Yeah, look, these 2 are different. They're in the same region. And that's a 2-5 pair in the region, and that is a 4 to make up the region. And now we know that 4 is purple. Isn't this incredible? This is miraculous in some bizarre way. There's only 1 place for 4 in the top row. That's 4 looks like it is diagonal, but it's not because these are not the same toroidal diagonal. 4 goes down in this corner. 34 is fine. It's 2 times 17. Now, everything else in the grid is 2 or 5. And the one thing that I think we haven't used that we're going to is that 25 is not allowed because it's a perfect square. So this pair is 52. And that's going to disambiguate all the 5s and 2s and finish this absolute genius puzzle that is, you see, it's not hard to fill in once you start, once you know what you're doing. But I stared at this, that is right, for a minute or 2 without having a clue how you could fill it in. What was I doing? I was faffing around with purple and yellow, wasn't I? Thinking, how is this going to help? And I had no idea. Then you think, even when I listed the primes and squares, there didn't seem to be enough, but there absolutely were. I mean, it's not a huge puzzle. You just had to have that kick-off with the 3s and then think about the right things, and it all falls into place. It's a form of transcendental magic. And GBPAC is right to be very happy with having created that. Or, I want to say having discovered that, but that's entirely unfair because GBPAC's gone to a lot of trouble to fashion this grid so that the shapes make it work. It's just genius. It's amazing. This is the sort of thing Sudoku does. When you're least expecting it, it approaches you in a dark alley with a sandbag and clonks you on the head and just stuns you. I'm so impressed by this. You may not understand why, but if you do, then you share my enthusiasm for the magic of maths and Sudoku and the brilliant constructors who we are in touch with on a regular basis thanks to some miracle of humanity. Thank you for watching me enjoy this discovery, for me at least. It's just brilliant, and to get the chance to do this on this channel and to have somebody see me at that moment of epiphany is such a privilege, and I never underestimate it. Thank you for being with us. I really hope to see you again tomorrow for another amazing Sudoku moment. Bye for now.